There he goes. Good afternoon, everybody. It's your boy Jay McLovin here with the afternoon show here on ESEN. Followed up with my boy Foxborough Frankie C. Frankie, what's up, my brother?
What's going on, guys? I couldn't be more happier today, and we'll find out in a little bit.
Absolutely. And then down underneath me is my boy Tony and his son Chris Gonzo Gonzalez. What's up, my brothers?
A whole lot. We got a heat wave. It's actually over zero today.
Hey, it's supposed to get up to 20 today. I don't know if it's going
he,
to.
said- he got a heat wave. It's above zero today.
Hey, I just want to mark myself safe having driven on the roads of Houston without accident. It's been another crazy day here, but we're doing well. We're doing well, and most of us on the Gulf Coast still have a crap ton of snow in their yard. I unfortunately am not one of those people. It has melted and gone away.
Most of our snow's gone. It's still colder than shit, but it's supposed to get up to 20 today, so we'll see if it does. But
It's 15, but it's 2. It's 2 degrees.
Gonzo, and the
I was
words
gonna
of
say,
your
it still
father,
feels
stop
cold as shit.
whining. You are from the north. This should be nothing to you guys. You should be out there spitting rainbows and stuff, man. Come on. That's
Yeah,
what I'm supposed to say.
hey, I've been out in it all morning.
I want to
All right,
since-
fine. I'll
since
give you
it's-
that, Gonzo, but only because you've been out all morning. I'm gonna let you have that one, because I ain't been doing nothing this morning except looking at my feet. It's
So
all
before
good.
we start
I don't think I really need to know that, but okay.
before we
Oh,
start off,
laying in
what we're going
bed,
to talk
looking at the
about,
feet.
and before we start talking about topics and everything like that, I want to throw this out there because I'm watching Sports Center live right now. They got the Cleveland Browns projected to draft Travis Hunter. Is that a smart move, or don't you think it's time that they should start looking for a quarterback because Deshaun Watson can't be on the field for them that long?
Give me a second. We're gonna pick that up. That matter of fact, that's a good lead off. We can lead off with that. Before we get into that, though, I do want to say if you guys like our content, like what we're putting out to you guys, please like, share, and subscribe to the content. That really does mean a lot when you guys subscribe to our stuff. Helps us get our content to further places. But having to, all right, that sounds good. Let's start off with that. Travis Hunter, Cleveland Browns. They're gonna obviously have to trade up with the Titans if they want to grab that. I think Travis Hunter's probably going to be gone within the first 3. I don't know where Cleveland is drafting. Frankie, I'll let you start it off. But what do you think, Travis Hunter, Brown? What are they going to have to give up for that?
So the first, I'll do the first 4 because I don't know who got the number 5 pick, but the first 4 is going to be at number 1. You got the Tennessee Titans with the number 1 overall pick, followed by the Cleveland Browns at number 2. The New York Giants have the number 3 pick, followed with the New England Patriots at number 4. If I'm not mistaken, I think the Jacksonville Jaguars have number 5. But that right now is the top 5. Listen, Tennessee needs a quarterback. Will Levis isn't the answer. Cleveland, I don't know. To me, in my instant, I think Cleveland deserves or need to get a quarterback because Jameis Winston hasn't re-signed with the quarterback or at Cleveland Brown yet. And then you have Deshaun Watson, who literally just got hurt, not once but twice last year. Literally, like he got hurt with his Achilles injury, and then I'm pretty sure a couple weeks after the season ended, he ended up getting hurt again. I don't know the specific reason why or how, but Deshaun Watson got 2 injuries in one cycle. So I think the Cleveland Browns should go and get a quarterback just because, listen, Deshaun Watson isn't your answer, right? You made that trade for Deshaun Watson. You're eating up all that money. I think it's time that the Cleveland Browns either move on from Deshaun Watson and just eat up that money, or you might as well just bench him and have him as your backup and start for your future and look towards the future because Deshaun Watson isn't the answer. The New York Giants also a team that needs a quarterback because they got rid of Daniel Jones last year after giving him the money that he wanted, not the money that he deserved, the money that he wanted, which was the last straw for Saquon Barkley. And now all the Giant fans are crying while everybody else around the world is laughing at them. And then you got the Patriots and then everybody else. So, I mean, to me, the first 3 draft picks, all those teams that need a quarterback. I understand you want to get Travis Hunter, but I think you need to worry about your future for the franchise. Deshaun Watson isn't going to be there very long. And if he is there, the question is how long will he be on the field for you guys? Because clearly he can't play a full season for some odd reason since he was with Houston. That's just my theory, my thought, my take. I don't know what you guys think on that.
Real quick, I will tell you this though. I think they're going to eat that Deshaun Watson contract because he just retore the ACL that he tore previously. So I think Deshaun Watson's career as a Brown is officially, in my opinion, over. I don't see any scenario that he can make it to the end of that contract after all the rehab he's going to have to go to. I could be wrong on that, but I really don't think you're going to see Deshaun Watson in a Browns uniform. Tony, Chris, what do you guys think about Browns trading up for Travis Hunter and all the stuff that Frankie said? Maybe.
Well, Browns are the second pick, so I think right now what they projected was that the quarterback from Miami, Ward, was going to probably be the number 1 pick. That's what's projected.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And Hunter would be number 2 with the Giants. I don't disagree with Frankie, except I don't think there's a quarterback worth taking with the second pick. I don't think Ward's worth taking the first pick. That's just my opinion. So I think they're probably more talented than what Richardson was that the Colts got, but I don't think we should have got him with the 4th pick. So I think that's a big reach to take him at that pick. And I think Hunter I think he's going to be a really good player. I don't think that's a reach. So I could understand him taking Hunter and maybe wait another year for maybe a better quarterback comes out.
So you definitely think that regardless of whether it goes to Cleveland or not, do you think Tennessee actually does still trade out of that number 1 pick and try to get some other picks to keep building up that franchise?
Is Tennessee the first pick? I think Tennessee's going to take Ward.
Okay.
But I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think if I was Tennessee, I would trade out unless you really think Shador or you think Cam Ward or whatever is going to be your guy. I would probably trade out. Gonzo?
What it tells me is that if Cleveland's going to draft some number 2 Hunter or somebody that's not a quarterback, it's telling me that they're going to bring in somebody like Sam Darnold if he's available. They're going to try to bring in
Cousins.
They're going to or Cousins, somebody like that, for a couple of years that they feel better about that than what they do these rookie quarterbacks. Because I don't think Deshaun Watson plays again another snap in the NFL. I think his career is over. He's going to have another surgery, basically the same surgery he just had. Going to have it again.
Exactly.
I don't think he's going to play again in the NFL. So they're going to have to do something. I don't think Jameis Winston they don't think he's their answer. So I look for them to bring in somebody like Darnold or Cousins.
Well, the quarterbacks for Pittsburgh's going to be available.
Or
one of them's going to be. Not both.
Either Fields or Wilson could be available. So I mean, I think they're going to go with that free agent route for a quarterback for this season. Try to find maybe a bridge guy until they can find a younger guy they like.
Yeah, because I think I would if I'm the Titans, I think I rock another year with Levis. I think I trade out of that spot, try to pick up some future first round picks out of it, possibly. If you think, like for example, you got Arch Manning, so he's probably going to do at least 2 years. I would imagine he does 2 years before he comes out. So that's what 25 or it's 25, 26. So I'd probably looking for either a 27 or 28 first round pick, depending on where you think he's going to come out at. And try to go for like an Arch Manning or something of that nature. What do you guys think about that?
I can see what you're saying, but I think Tennessee's done with Levis. I don't look. They might not draft a quarterback this year. You could be right. They could move out of that because you can get so much. Draft capital for moving out of number 1 if they don't like the quarterbacks there. They could be a team that tries to get a quarterback through free agency, especially if they decide to move out that number 1 pick. But I don't think Levis will be their starter this year. I think that coach, if it was up to him, I don't even think Levis would be in the building.
Yeah. I mean, but think about it. This is my mode of thought. Now, we don't like to see tanking, but you can play Levis and not really tank and probably still get another first round pick out of it and then stack that on with the other first round picks you got from this year. I mean, if they played that right, you wouldn't even have to tank. You would just naturally suck bad enough to incorporate picks to make yourself better. I hate to say it, but that's kind of what the Astros did. The Astros got rid of everybody and their mother, collected all those picks, built up to the farm system, and then I look where they are. I'm not saying that the Titans should do that, but still, Frankie, I know you're over there saying, Jason, blah, 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 blah.
Hey, the Astros might have taken for a little bit, but we all know what got them over the edge.
Oh, he's starting it.
Wow, I even had the first sip of my Monster, and you're already attacking me.
Hey, I got
What is the thing that Jay does? What is the thing that Jay? Read the shit. I don't know what to do with my hands.
I got a friend who's a professional wrestler. He said if you ain't cheating, you ain't competing. So that's the way I look at
Hey,
it.
and nobody's ever going to accuse us of not competing.
That's right. That's right, damn it.
Frankie, man, what do you think about that scenario, though? What if you write out Levis one more time, play bad enough, get another first round pick, trade out of this year's first round pick, garner up some other first round pick? Could you then? I know it's not the popular thing to do, but you could rebuild your franchise just by doing that.
I mean, realistically, the Titans could trade away their first round pick this year, right? I mean, they can trade that first round pick, get a certain player in return. If it was me, honestly, I would try and stay away from Will Levis and just make the trade for Kirk Cousins, right? I mean, the Falcons already told Kirk Cousins that he's going to be a backup next year. So you might as well go ahead and trade for Kirk Cousins for 1 year at least, and then get your future quarterback next year to learn behind Kirk Cousins. Maybe that will work out in your favor. But Will Levis isn't the answer. And I said it since day one when Tennessee grabbed him. I said, why would they go and get Will Levis? A guy who literally loves mayonnaise so much that the only commercial he's doing is mayo commercials. I mean, it's ridiculous. I'm not a big fan of Will Levis, but if the Titans are smart, they can keep that number 1 pick, but this is not the draft for quarterbacks. I mean, you got quarterbacks that are entering the draft and stuff like that, but they're not good quarterbacks, right? The only good quarterbacks are Shedeur Sanders, who realistically shouldn't be a first-round pick.
Yeah.
To me, I feel like he'll be like a 3rd, maybe 4th round pick if it was more of a quarterback draft. But I mean, you could go that route. You could go Cam Ward, but other than that, you don't got nobody good. You got Jalen Mayro. You got the guy from Texas who's entering the draft. It's not a good draft this year for quarterbacks. So if I'm Tennessee, trade away your first pick, get some draft capital because you're guaranteed to get a first-round pick next year if you was to trade that away to a team, and probably get a good, decent player out of it as well. And then go ahead and get Kirk Cousins. You might as well, right? I mean, he's still a good quarterback.
Yeah, I don't see why not. I mean,
he had a bad year, right? He had a bad year, but every quarterback has that one bad year. Kirk Cousins is still a good quarterback.
And he was coming off that Achilles tear injury, and it usually takes a guy a year or so before he playing pretty good ball after that.
Yeah, unless you're Aaron Rodgers and you're going in the mud hut.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, folks. Let's talk some coordinated positions that are open up. I'm going to start with, because Frankie, I know he's all excited right now. We're going to start off with that. Before I do that, hey, let me bring in this real quick. Man, my screen just got really small. He says there are a lot of quarterbacks that can chase Fields, Wilson, even Darnold. I don't know. I see that. I can see maybe the Darnold one. I mean, could you imagine if Tennessee brought in Darnold? I mean, what would that do for them? I don't know, though. I mean, he wouldn't have a good offensive line. I don't know if he'd be quite as good as he was in the regular season with the Vikings and their offensive line. What do you guys think about bringing Darnold into
well, not just the offensive line, Jay. I mean, the Vikings got weapons, right? They got weapons all around them. Tennessee don't got no weapons.
That's true. They don't. That's true. They really don't. I mean, they got what, Pollard? I mean, who's their wide receivers even at this point? I haven't even paid attention to their wide
Burks.
receivers.
I know they got Burks, but he can hardly stay on the field.
Yeah, I mean, let's put it this way. They don't have enough really to make Sam Darnold look amazing. He might even go back to his old Jets or Carolina days because, like you said, he doesn't have weapons. He doesn't have an O-line, and I just don't know if he's going to be able to do a whole lot with nothing. I don't know if he's that type of quarterback,
Has Minnesota made a decision on him yet? Because they can franchise that.
No, they didn't make a decision on him yet. The only decision that they had done just now is extending Kevin O'Connell.
Yeah, they gave him like a 3 or 4 year extension, something like
that. Robert Wardell. By the way, hey, what's up, Rob? He goes on to say Tennessee wants to give up that first round. They can have DK. Yeah, I don't think they're going to get that first round for DK. Not that DK is not good and doesn't deserve to be a first round pick for him, but like you said, they have Levis. They really don't have anybody to throw the ball to. So I think about DK, I'm gonna be pissed off thinking I got to sit here in purgatory that nobody will give me the rock.
It's going to take a lot more than just one player to get that number one pick.
Oh, yeah.
Tennessee.
Yeah,
You're going to take multiple first round picks.
At least 2 and probably a third or fourth. It's going to take a lot of picks.
Oh, I definitely agree with that on that. All right, Frank, let's talk a little bit of not Jaguars. We're talking a little Patriots. You brought in Josh McDaniels now. So now you got your offensive coordinator solidified. And then Vrabel brings in Terrell Williams, the defensive line coach, not only for Tennessee Titans under Vrabel, but now the defensive line coach underneath Dan Campbell. Now he's the defensive coordinator for Vrabel with the Patriots. Go ahead. Give us your spill. What do you think about all this?
I am super excited. I couldn't be more happy for what Mike Vrabel's doing in New England, bringing back Josh McDaniels, a guy who knows this offense, a guy who literally is like a quarterback genie when he's offensive coordinator, not when he's a head coach. I absolutely love it. Let's not forget that, there's people that's telling me, oh, why would they do this? Because, he was carried by Tom Brady and stuff like that. Listen, he had won 11 games with Matt Castle when Tom Brady got hurt, right? Then he leaves, goes to Denver, comes back, wins Super Bowls. He went 3-1 when Tom Brady was suspended for 4 games. He went 3-1 with Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett. Then he goes off to the Raiders and stuff like that. Listen, he took Mac Jones to the playoffs in his rookie year. Has Mac Jones done anything since then? No. This is an absolute amazing hire with Drake May and how he played this past season in his rookie year. I absolutely loved it. It wasn't like a splash where, we were expected to win 6 games, 7 games, or make the playoffs or anything like that. No, this was an experiment to see what Drake May could do, and he showed what he can do. Just imagine what he could do when we have weapons around him and a line to protect him. Now we have the coordinator, the right guy that can actually lead and teach him the right way. I feel like Josh McDaniels is a slam dunk into coming back to New England as the offensive coordinator under Mike Vrabel. It's going to be an absolute blast. And then you got Terrell Williams. Like you said, he was a defensive line coach for Mike Vrabel in Tennessee. Then he goes to Detroit and becomes a defensive line coach there. Let's not overlook how that defense looked before all these 30 players got hurt. I think it was 18 total in the defensive side alone. So, I mean, the Detroit Lions were an absolute monster, a monster on the defensive side of the ball, especially that defensive line, because nobody was able to run past that defensive line. I think this is going to be an amazing 3-front between Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels, and Terrell Williams. It's going to be amazing. I can't wait to see it. God, can the season start already? Because I do not want to see the rest of these 4 teams, fight for a Super Bowl spot, because nobody cares about these 4 teams. Nobody cares about the Bills. Nobody cares about Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. Nobody cares about Washington Commanders, a team that can't come up with a right name, so we're just going to call them the Commanders. And nobody cares about Philly. All right, who cares about Philly? Only reason I care about Philly is because they got really good Philly cheesesteaks. That's it. But damn it, I could make a good Philly cheesesteak on my own stove. But nobody cares about them. I just want the season to start. I can't wait to see what we do in the draft. I can't wait to see who we sign in free agency. We have the highest cap in next year's football season. We have the number 4 draft pick. Oh my God, can this be any better? Start off a new era in the New England Patriots.
Who would you like to see New England draft?
Yeah. Tony, Chris, what do you guys think about the McDaniels and Trent Williams or Terrell Williams hiring for coordinator spots?
Well, McDaniels, when Vrabel got the job, I figured he was going to hire McDaniels as offensive coordinator. Only way he wasn't going to get McDaniels as his offensive coordinator was if McDaniels went to North Carolina to be Bill Belichick's offensive coordinator. I figured McDaniels was going to win them 2 places. I think it's a good hire. I mean, McDaniels is a great offensive coordinator. He hasn't had a lot of success as a head coach. but every time he's been offensive coordinator, he's had some of the best offenses in the league. So I think it's a good hire, and somebody Vrabel's comfortable with. And I think that when you're a head coach, it's important for you and your coordinators to be on the same page. And so I think that's a big thing, the relationship that they have already had for years and years before this. So I think it's a great hire for New England.
I agree. I agree with that. I think he's a piece of shit, but I think he's a good coordinator.
I know why you think he's a piece of shit.
Yeah, exactly why he's a piece of shit. Fucking liar.
Oh, sweet goodness. Yes. And that sounds like a whole topic for a whole nother show.
Well, he was on a plane to be the Indianapolis Colts head coach, and then
Oh, McDaniels was?
Yeah.
they had already announced the press conference and everything, and then he backed
Oh,
out.
wow.
He went back to New England.
Which
You
now,
know, Tony, Chris, I wouldn't be so upset about that. He probably saved you a whole lot of crap. Because if he didn't
you're probably right.
that might have been a blessing in disguise. So
Fantastic coordinator, though. That's a good
for
hire.
sure.
I don't know much about the defensive guy, to be honest with you, but like Chris said, it's somebody that the head coach is comfortable with. He knows him. He knows what he can do. So I'm sure that's a very good hire too. So I think they're on the right track. I just wonder. I don't know if Frankie's there. Who he would like to see them get with that fourth pick.
Well, I wanted Travis Hunter. Hopefully, he could last that long. If he can, that'll be amazing. But if we can't get Travis Hunter, now I don't know who we're gonna get. I'm hoping we could get a wide receiver because we need as much wide receiver as we can.
Yes.
If better yet, get an offensive tackle. The one guy, if you're gonna go lineman, you might as well go with what's his name, Campbell from LSU, right? I feel like Campbell from LSU would be a really good pick to go to New England and protect Drake May.
Real quick, so Robert Wardell chimes in and says, I'll be interested to see who the Hawks get as their new offensive coordinator. 3 guys so far with return interviews are Kubiak, Fraley, and Udinsky. I don't even know who that guy is. So those are the 3 guys I guess have had interviews. Robert goes on to then say, please, no one cares about the Pats except Pat fans. You had your Brady time. Now go back in obscurity. Woo. Hold on, Frankie. I got one more, and you can. I'll give you a rebuttal on Robert here real quick. Then he goes on to say, yeah, McDaniels decided to go back being Bill's. I'm not going to say that word. And scared to take the Colts job because he knew Brady was.
What's his team?
I'm assuming the
Seahawks.
The Seahawks? Seahawks? Oh my God! Is this another Mickey Delaney?
Oh shit!
Listen, kid. All right, listen here, kid. First of all, he didn't go back to being Bill's. I'm just gonna say he didn't go back to being Bill's bitch. Is he in North Carolina? No, he came to New England. All right, he came to New England to ride with Mike Vrabel. All right, learn some goddamn shit. He didn't go to the Colts because he didn't want to go to the goddamn Colts. All right, he knew that there was nothing for the Colts. No knock on you guys up there. No knock on you guys. No knock on you guys. Trust me. I love you guys. But he knew.
He basically said F you, but not to you two guys.
Not to you
guys. He knew what he was gonna get into if he went to the Indianapolis, right? Like you guys at that time, you guys didn't have your quarterbacks situation set up yet. You guys didn't have,
No. He was a smart man.
Yeah, he was smart not going there. So I don't blame him. But you're going to come in here and try and talk. Oh, I'm just interested to see what the Hawks do as an offensive coordinator. There's 3 guys so far to return. Oh, Kubiak. Are you kidding me? Farley. Seriously? You put another name. I don't even know it because nobody knows that name. Like, come on. You're a Seahawks fan, bro. You're a Seahawks fan.
Helps a Pat fan diarrhea of the mouth.
Answer me this. You're a Seahawks fan. Did you run the ball? Did you run it?
Oh man.
Oh, you talking about the Pats in their Tom Brady time. Oh, what happened to your Legion of Doom? What happened to the Legion of Doom?
Did the Seahawks fire? Did they fire their offensive coordinator, or did he move on?
It don't matter, Chris. It don't matter.
No, I really don't know.
because once they didn't run the ball, guess what happened? Guess what happened when they didn't run the ball? Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and Josh McDaniels, goddamn it, ended that Legion of Boom, right? Russell Wilson lost his play style. He lost how to play. We haven't seen Russell Wilson the same since he beat Peyton Manning back in the Super Bowl, right? Where's Richard Sherman? Oh, he's an analyst at the table now because nobody wants his bum ass. Where's Marshawn Lynch? He retired because he said, why the hell didn't they give me the ball? We would have been Super Bowl champions back to back, but they didn't give me the ball. So I'm done with this team.
Hey, I like Marshawn.
I like Marshawn too, but guess what? They didn't give him the goddamn ball.
Hey, real quick, did you see him on that Bear Grylls show?
Yeah.
That shit was crazy.
He said the Hawks fired their offensive coordinator, Grubb,
Okay.
so he did get fired. Yeah.
I love it. I love it when Seahawk fans try to come and talk shit. It's like Mickey Delaney coming in here talking shit.
Hey, leave Mickey Delaney alone. That's my
Hey, you're
little
right.
boy.
We did lose our undefeated season. You're right, and that hurt me bad. But guess what? Well, after that, we ended up winning 3 more Super Bowls. How many did you win?
Hey, real quick. Hey, I just want to touch on this real quick. I do like McDaniels as a coordinator. I think that's his niche, right? He's not a good overall manager of people or things like that, but he's really good at development and implementing a good offensive strategy. And I think that's where he just shines. Like, look, Denver Raiders, we know that wasn't good. And the third team, Colts, that would have even been worse. I mean, trust me, you guys dodged a bullet by giving him as head coach. But as a coordinator, he took Mac Jones from rookie to alternate Pro Bowler, and they made the playoffs. I mean, that's pretty dang significant. And then you look, they got Drake May, who went, 225 out of 338 passes for a little over almost 2,300 yards and 15 touch, 10 interception. I think that's a guy. And he also had 54 rushes for 421 yards and 2 touches. I think Drake May is a good guy for your organization, Frankie. And I think Josh McDaniels will do for him what he did for Mac Jones and Tom Brady and stuff of that nature. So I think you guys got the right coordinator to develop Drake May into your next signal caller. I definitely think you got the right guy for that. In terms of your defense, you're not going to go wrong with Vrabel hiring Terrell Williams. I mean, he knows him. In fact, I think he played 1 or 2 head coaches, or he had him coach 1 or 2 games the year he was there. So he's got some experience. And I think what he did with the Lions and that defensive line, even though they lost Aiden Hutchinson was gone, they still kept them afloat. They still kept that team relevant. They still kept them doing great things. Matter of fact, when you saw them go up against the Vikings in the last game before the playoffs, they destroyed them, dismantled them. And so I think that's an excellent candidate for the defensive side of the ball. So I think Vrabel is being smart. He's putting proven guys around him, and that's how he's going to rebuild this team. And he does have a good centerpiece in Drake May. Now he's got to take the other $133 million and build around May. And I think he's got a good place to start, Frankie. And as long as he does really smart, prudent decision-making with the people he brings on in terms of players, the sky's the limit for that organization. And Robert, I hate to disagree with you, man. I think Vrabel will do good things with that amount of cap space. He's got a good coordinator. He's got good quarterback play. So I think all the things are there for him. I think his turnaround could be because he's going to get a blank slate. $133 million. You're going to get a blank slate to put around Drake May. It starts with the draft. It ends with free agency. Give them about 3 years, right? 3 to 4 years. But I don't think this is the last we've ever heard of the Patriots, not by a long shot, unless Vrabel just screws it up, which I don't expect him to do.
Hey, Robert, I got a gift for you. You know what that is?
Oh, you knew Frank was
Hold on.
a ring.
Hold on, you can see it. You see it? You see that? It's right there. It's the Seattle 24, New England 28. Do your job. Clearly, I did it. Clearly, I didn't do your job because we got this ring. But you see that we did our job.
Yeah.
Look at
I
that.
hate to say it, but success speaks loud volumes.
At the time, that was 4 Lombardis. We added 2 more to that since then. Oh, it feels good on my finger too. Look at that.
Let's switch it over just for a second. By the way, man, I always said the best way to keep people quiet is be successful. And right now, Frankie, you got a lot of work to do. You're not there yet. You're right. You're right now. You're going on your past successes, and I don't want to take away from that because that is a success. But now we got to look at the future and see what the future holds for them. And I think the world is there as long as they make the right decisions and stuff, which is hard to do all the time and speculate how somebody's going to perform in the draft or free agency when they come over. But I think you got the right people in play to develop that team. So I think you guys are in good hands.
The biggest key to me for them is going to be the offensive line. If they get the offensive line taken care of, because their defense wasn't bad this year, but their offensive line struggled to protect whoever the quarterback was.
And that's what I said earlier.
That's a good point, Chris.
Earlier, when Tony had asked me who we want in the number 4 pick, if we're not going to get Travis Hunter and they're not going to get a rookie wide receiver, because I heard news that with the cap space that they have, they're going to try and get out some free agent wide receivers, some veteran wide receivers, which isn't bad for me. But if you're going to go out and do that, then you might as well go and get that Campbell guy from LSU, right? We need an offensive line. We need people there to go and protect Drake May, because that was the one big issue with me last year was Drake May was an absolute stud. He looks great. I'm not saying he was, he could be the next guy to take over this league or anything like that. But no, he played his ass off really well for a team that only won 4 games. The only bad part about it was he was rushed too much because we didn't have anybody on the line.
He was running for his life a lot of times.
Yeah. So I mean, if we could get people to protect this man, and we're in a good spot. We're in a good spot.
Real quick, and this is Kuiper's projections. And there's a lot of mock drafts, and it's way too early. But he's got New England taking Abdul Carter, offensive from Penn State.
Offensive tackle?
No, defensive player.
That's dumb.
Linebacker from Abdul Carter from Penn State. What he's got, and Jay, what he's got the Dallas Cowboys doing is with the 11th pick in the draft is a wide receiver from 12th pick in the draft from Missouri, Luther Burton III, Missouri, and he has the Colts taking Warren, the tight end from Penn State, which I'm all for that.
I'd be happy if the Colts get him. We need a tight end.
I don't like the Cowboys drafted a wide receiver. That's not a position of need. Right now, we need to worry about that offensive line because right now our offensive line
you need a quarterback.
In my opinion, really suspect.
You need a running back. You need a running back. You need a quarterback. You need
trust me. If Ashton Gentry is there for the Cowboys, I would absolutely tell them.
You need a quarterback, running back, head coach.
The guy you was talking about, guy from LSU, the offensive tackle and guard. Maybe he's got him going, Campbell. He's got him going to the Bears with a 10th pick in the draft.
That's not a bad spot for him. I mean, that's not a bad team for him to go to. I mean, they really are needing to rebuild that offensive line. Says Jay, so who does Dallas chasing the HUD up? Yeah, I don't want the guy. They're talking about Shanahan. I think his name's been thrown in there. Kellen Moore's name, right? I mean,
Schottenheimer.
It's not Shanahan. You wished it to be Shanahan.
No, Schottenheimer. It's Yeah. Well, either way, it's a former head coach's kid, right? Whether it be Brian or Mike, it don't matter, okay?
I think there's a big difference. I'd rather have the Shanahan than the Schottenheimer.
Hey, I wouldn't want any one of them, to be honest with you. I'm so over that training.
You wouldn't take Kyle Shanahan as your guys' coach?
No. I mean, if you want to give me Kyle, I'm going to say no because he has not yet got them to a Super Bowl or won a Super Bowl. He's gotten them there, but he hasn't won it. I need somebody different. I just think that style of coaching. Flores wouldn't be a bad one, in my opinion. Everybody knows I'm high on Flores. Everybody knows how much I love Brian Flores. I love what he did with Miami and rebuilding that team. I think the Cowboys are in desperate need of player evaluations better than what they've had. They need to do better in their contract negotiating and all that kind of stuff. I think Brian Flores would be a great coach to bring in. I don't know if that's going to happen. I would love to see Brian Flores come in. I've been chasing after that guy for a while.
You're such an ass, Jay.
You're
such an ass because when he was defensive coordinator for the Patriots, you used to hate him.
No, not Brian Flores. Brian Flores wasn't defensive coordinator for the Patriots, was he?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, before he went to Miami.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't pick up on Brian Flores until after Miami. I wasn't paying attention when he was with the Patriots. I wasn't paying attention to that part. So
you bring up hard, sir.
No, Robert asked what the chances are for Dion. What
I would
happened?
say-
What happened to all the steam behind that? That's all you were hearing about there for like a day or two, and then now you don't even hear nothing about
I
it.
don't think Dion wants it.
I think that was just a publicity thing for Jerry. Jerry likes to make headlines, and I really think that was just a headline for Jerry. I think there might be I would say 30%. I think it's a little bit better than 20. So I'm gonna go 30. There's probably about a 30% chance that Dion gets the job. Do I think he's gonna be our next coach? No. Do I hope Kellen Moore is not my head coach? Yes.
I want
So
to
we'll
ask
see.
you this. I want to ask you this quickly, Jay. Because
Yeah.
you talked about Brian Flores and stuff. Do you really think that he changed the culture of Miami when he was there?
No, I think the ownership had too much control over that. I think he tried to win games when the ownership didn't want him to win games.
Okay.
Yeah. But I think Brian Flores is a good coach. He kept Miami relevant.
Right. No.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
And
But
I think
the
had Brian
situation-
Flores stayed there and then not gotten rid of him, what he could have done with that Miami team probably would have been a lot better than what McDaniels is doing right now.
But I think the way that the relationship ended with him in Miami is what ruined his chances of getting a future head coaching spot.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
he's been getting interviews here and there every year, and yet we have not seen him getting hired yet. So I
Right.
feel like,
Which
I
is
feel like they-
as a matter of fact, I'm glad you said that because that's exactly the reason why I don't think Brian Flores would be a Cowboys coach because he goes against the grain in Miami, and everybody knows that Jerry doesn't like it when you go against the grain.
Well,
And Jimmy Johnson went against the grain and he got fired, and I think Brian Flores wouldn't even get an opportunity because Jerry knows he's going to go against the grain, and that's not who Jerry wants.
I'm pretty sure if I remember correctly, didn't he filed a lawsuit against the
Yeah,
NFL?
he sure did.
After that, didn't he?
I believe so.
He did.
I mean,
that's what happened with the whole.
It was, if I'm not mistaken, it was NFL and it was Miami, I believe. I think it was
Yeah.
both of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then that's when the NFL came out and tell every team, like, listen, you have to at least interview one black head coach.
I thought that was before that. I thought that was part of the
No, it
Rooney Rule
was.
back in the day.
It was before that, but like
They
when
did
that
they,
happened with-
did change something. They added something on to the Rooney Rule after that. I forget exactly what it was, but Frankie's right. They did add something to the Rooney Rule.
Right. I'm sure they did because I know the Rooney Rule was under big time speculation about how everybody was upset with it, saying that, yeah, okay, that you just made that, but it doesn't mean it's going to do anything. And I think everybody was kind of upset about that. So I think they did make a change to it. I'll have to go back and research it. Matter of fact, that might be good for next show. So I'll have to research that for tomorrow's
I
show.
think Flores would do good if he got another chance because look what he did in Miami, where he didn't have the support. He didn't have the support of his team, of the owner or the GM. You know what I mean? He was basically rogue doing what he wanted.
So the Rooney Rule, according to Robert, he's saying the Rooney Rule you have to have 2 interviews with non-white coaches. And he says he feels that I feel the biggest obstacle to whoever gets a job has to deal with Jerry, which that's clearly what I was just saying. So I'm sure me and Robert are in agreement on that. Because I wonder if Jerry is gonna hurt the search. Yeah, he's gonna hurt the search because he's not gonna bring nobody in that we should bring.
You know what I think? You know who I think Dallas should hire as their head coach?
Me?
Sure.
Let's do it.
I'm being
We've been
serious.
saying this for years, right?
Okay,
We've been saying this for years. I feel like since you guys have got rid of Wade Phillips, right? Wade Phillips was not a Jerry Jones guy, right? Since then, Jerry Jones has only been hiring guys that are yes men to Jerry Jones.
Oh, he's always been that way.
And that's
always been like that.
And that's one of the reasons why, because today you guys could have had
What do you think it should be?
Hey, Mike.
Let's go!
What I think Dallas should do.
Ben Johnson!
What I think Dallas should do before we get to Ben Johnson, I think Dallas should hire Jerry Jones as their next head coach. He's going to have say in it anyway. Just let him run the whole damn show. I'd love to see Jerry on the sideline with a headset on.
Hey, it's hard. It's hard to be a coach when you're the quarterback, running back, and wide receiver too. Okay, it's hard. It's hard. By the way, Michael, if nobody's ever told you this, you look just like the dude that does those parodies on the Bears. Which, by the way, I watch all of them because they are hilarious.
Hate that guy. Hate that guy so much.
Oh no, I love that guy.
What's
that
up,
guy
Mike?
every time I listen to him all the time. Man, he's got some good stuff.
Nah, he's all right. He's a douchebag. But
I'm sure you're feeling good today.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling
Oh
I
no,
love
he's
it.
feeling great
He's feeling
because he got
beautiful.
Ben Johnson. That's why he's feeling great.
Breaking news.
Just
Breaking
missed our
news
little-
just came out that where to go? Breaking news came out that the Jaguars and the GM Trent how you say it, Balaki, whatever, are parting ways.
Bukaki.
So now the Jaguars need to find both head coach and GM now.
Ooh. Yeah, real quick, Robert, I would love if Pete Carroll came to Dallas. I would welcome him with open arms. I just don't know if Jerry's going to bring him in for that. But
Who
I
do you
would
think
love
Jerry's
it.
about him,
only
bro?
looking. Jerry's only looking for yes men. I'm
And I
telling
don't think
Who do you
Pete is
think
a yes
guys-
guy.
Can I ask a question, Mr. McLovin?
Yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Who do you think dies first, Jerry Jones or Pete Carroll? They're
Oh,
both like
man.
95.
I
I'm
think,
just
you know
asking.
what? Hey, listen, I think Jerry made a deal with the devil, and I think he's going to live like 150 years. So I'm going to say Pete Carroll.
I think he is the
Just
devil.
pay
I don't like
attention.
the way he looks. I don't like his. I don't like. You look into his eyes, and I just see like fire.
I'm hearing a lot of Pete Carroll to the Raiders.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah.
I wouldn't
I
love
am
that.
too. I am
I
too.
wouldn't love that at all. I hate that for Pete. I guess.
Well,
maybe.
he's going to have his work cut out for him. He's not going to walk into a Seattle job. He's gonna
Mike,
definitely have
what
his
would you
work
rather
cut
have?
out,
Would you
so.
rather have Pete Carroll in Vegas, or would you rather have Pete Carroll in Dallas?
I would have him in Dallas, but Mike?
Dallas is
I
getting
don't think-
Kellen Moore.
Dallas don't have nobody for Pete Carroll. They don't got a running back. They don't got a quarterback that can stay on the field. They don't have an offensive line. And I'm not knocking Jay. Even Jay has said this a little while ago.
Yeah,
Like,
they
they don't
said a
have
minute
no,
ago.
they don't
I
have
don't. I don't think Pete would take that job. I think Pete kind of tries to create a culture where I don't think Dallas allows you to create a culture. I think that you have to kind of fall into their shit. So it's like Jerry has a heart attack. Well,
mean, you
him and
could-
Kraft are.
If I'm Pete Carroll, I'd rather
I
go
ain't say
to
it.
I'd rather go to the Raiders because you got Bowers over there. You could build around him.
Yeah, but you can make the same case for CeeDee
Oh,
Lamb.
man,
You could put
Yeah,
around
but if
CeeDee
I'm
Lamb,
74, bro. Yeah, I love CD's a dog. And Dak, I mean, Dak's in a much better situation because you don't have to like groom him. You kind of already know what Dak is. So it's kind of like, I don't know.
Raiders are kind of messed
If
up.
I'm
wouldn't do
Pete
it.
Carroll and I had my choice, I think I would go after the Jacksonville job, especially now that the GM job is open because you could get your
For
own
sure.
GM in there. And I know Lawrence hasn't performed like people thought he was, but you have a guy that could be your future quarterback if you get the right
Yeah.
guy in there, maybe.
Well, I'm glad
But
that you brought that up.
even
because-
Troy Aikman said that the Cowboys' job was not attractive, right? It's not attractive for two reasons. Number one, you got Jerry Jones to deal with, which is why that culture won't change because Jerry's not going to let the
Number
culture
two,
change.
it's the Cowboys.
And number two is, which is the most important thing, they're 19 million in the hole. They ain't got no money to bring nobody in. So you're gonna have to sit there and ride this crappy contracts of Mari Cooper and Ezekiel Elliott, and then now you got Dak Prescott as the highest paid quarterback. What?
Hey,
You
why
gotta
don't
have to
they
ride
just do
all
like the
that crap,
Dodgers and
you know?
defer those contracts a few years?
I'm
Hey,
telling look, he
Nah,
needs
hey.
to take a
Here
page
we
out
go
of
with
the
the
Dodgers
goddamn
Bible.
Dodgers.
Not right now, Gonzo. Not right now.
He's trying to piss me off, Mike. That's the thing.
I'm good, bro. I'm good. I don't want to talk about it. I'm good, bro. I'm not it.
But I'm
You
glad
know, I
that-
wanted
I'm glad that-
Tanner
I'm glad that
Scott.
you brought up Pete Carroll probably going to the Jacksonville Jaguars because I did hear that Robert Saleh will probably be the new head coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah, I like Pete a lot better. I
I
Pete
would
a
like
lot
Pete a
better.
lot better too.
Yeah.
I also
I
heard
don't know.
if Saleh don't get a head coach
look,
job,
guys,
he
by
can
the
go back
way,
to San
so
Francisco.
since we're talking about that, the Bucs offensive coordinator Cohen did turn down that job to stay with the Buccaneers. I wonder how that affects everybody else. I mean, do you think he saw something in that organization that just turned him completely off? And if so, do you think that would turn off other coaching candidates?
Baker
I don't know
Mayfield.
what he found, but he had to see something.
Baker Mayfield. Like, you know, like
No,
there's
he saw the money.
yeah.
He saw the money. He literally turned down the job because he became the highest paid offensive coordinator in football.
Maybe. Yeah, that's why.
Saw
That's
the
why.
money.
Come on, bro. You think Ben Johnson's here strictly based off the fact that he likes Caleb Williams? We threw $15 million a year at that motherfucker and gave him a private jet. I think that's what it fucking comes down to at the end of the day. Like, I think, and especially for a coordinating job, but I don't know. Tampa's a weird situation too because, like, not that I don't take them seriously, but like, how far do they really go down the line? Because they're in a tricky spot where it's like Baker's playing out of his mind, and that's great. But is that sustainable? How long is Baker going to be playing like this? And then if Baker's winning you enough games to the point to where you're kind of like middle of the pack, shit out of luck, kind of like Frankie, not trying to be bogus, but like it's kind of like where the Patriots were, you're drafting 15th and you get Mac Jones, but you're not getting the Trevor Lawrence because you're not that bad of a team.
Where the
So it's
Colts are every damn year drafting 15th, 14th.
yeah, and like the Colts do a great job at it. I'll give them that. Like the guys they draft for the most part are pretty good players, but you're never getting that guy. That's why you fall in the laps of an Anthony Richardson or like us with a Justin Fields. Like you get Justin at 11th, and we're like, man, bro, how did he fall to 11th, bro? And then you find out really quickly why he fucking fell to 11th because
that's how I felt with Mac Jones. How Mac Jones fall 15? Now I know
we found out. Yeah, we know it's all good. Look, you see what number I'm wearing, right? It ain't. Yeah. Where's Justin? I don't know. I put the 1, I threw an 8 on it, and it gave me fucking.
By the way, Baker Mayfield is 29, Mike. I think Baker's probably got about 6-7 years left in him.
But how many of those are?
Oh yeah,
Pro Bowl level.
I think
not only that,
4 more years of really hard productive years.
And not only that, some of the weapons that they have around Baker are starting to get older as well. I mean, Evans isn't young. Godwin's not young.
They found a hidden gem in McMillan, though. That McMillan kid, it's just like McConkey. Like they got a hidden gem in that guy.
What y'all know about Scotty Miller though? When back in the day, boy, Scotty Miller was the flyest white boy I ever seen.
He was fly. He was Tom Brady's bootleg Julian Edelman.
Man, and he did that though. And you know what? Without steroids too, Frankie, take that.
Hey.
But
he got the ring. He got the ring too.
No one said he did it. Oh man,
yeah,
not turning the Hackett. I'm not too worried about it. I'm really not. I like it. I think there's a big difference between like guys like Nathaniel Hackett, because Nathaniel Hackett, like I used to talk to Gonzo about it when he got the head coaching job in Denver, and I was like, this guy wasn't even the offensive coordinator in Green Bay. This guy was like, he held the jock strap for the offensive coordinator. Like he was extremely underqualified for all those opportunities. Where Ben Johnson, I mean, he's been kind of that name for a multitude of years. Like I think it would have been one thing if the Bears hired Johnson a year ago. I think we could all sit here today and be like, well, he only really had one great year. But to do it again this year, they win 15 games. Jared Goff looks great. I think it kind of shows to me like, okay, like you could walk it like you talk it, like, you know what I mean? So it'll really just come down to the Bears and their shit offensive line. But that's where I'm at. I don't think it's like Hackett.
The only reason Hackett ever got the head coaching job in Denver is because they thought if they got him, they were going to they would get Aaron Rodgers. He didn't get that job because they thought he was.
That's why he got the job in New York too, because Rodgers was there. Yeah, so it's like, like,
and ultimately, even though he got with Rodgers, he still got demoted.
Yeah,
trying to be alive, man. Damn.
But no, so I think there's a big difference there. I think Johnson will do good there. They got to fix that offensive line. Though. That's the whole thing with them too. Is if the offensive line don't get fixed, it don't matter who's calling plays or who your quarterback is.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm glad we're talking about this because we talked about it yesterday, and I said it was a smart move for the Chicago Bears because for so long the Chicago Bears have been hiring defensive-minded coaches. Now that they got an offensive-minded coach, someone who literally can go there, the Chicago Bears are not bad. They have the pieces. They really do. They got Caleb Williams in the quarterback. They got the running back. They got the wide receivers literally all around. The running back?
We don't have the running back. Fuck DeAndre Swift.
You can listen. You can turn that running back around. Right?
Sure.
You could turn that. You could turn that around. So I mean, you have the pieces, and you had the offensive minded head coach, which leads me, Jay, and I'm going to bring it up to the next segment. Was it a smart move for the New York Jets to go out and hire a defensive minded coach yet again?
Before you go there, I did have one question I want to ask Mike to wrap that up before we switch into the next one. So, Mike, like he was saying, you're bringing in Ben Johnson. This guy had all the weapons he could ever dream of in Detroit. So he could do a lot of crazy things in Detroit and show a really good success at it. I don't think he's going to be able to get away with that type of stuff in Chicago, at least not right now. What do you think about it? No, I don't think he can. I don't think he can get away with that. I don't know if the offensive line is as good. I don't know. Caleb Williams is still developing. Do you think Mike, what do you think? Man, this is your team. Can he get away with all that?
I think Caleb's already better and an already bigger upgrade than Jared Goff. And I think a lot of people will sit here and say that's not accurate. But I'll tell you, 20-6 for a touchdown interception ratio, sacked 68 times and 3,500 yards is pretty fucking good when your whole coaching staff got fired. So I think he's already an upgrade from Goff. But the question is, are you going to be able to get away with the same stuff? And that's, I agree with Jay. Whoa, rare. Me and McLovin rarely agree on things. But you know, I do agree. Like you can't like here's the one example. I made a meme of it earlier because he did his press conference and he kind of mentioned, you guys remember the fake fumble where they faked it on Chicago and then they got the touchdown out of it with Laporta up the left-hand side. And I thought the most beautiful thing about that play was it doesn't happen unless you have an offensive line that gives you that time to fake a fumble. Like if we faked that fumble, you'd just been on your ass and it would have been a pick six and it would have been over. And that's what it was. So I think getting that offensive line together, we have top 5 salary cap in 2025. We have $66 to $84 million to play with. You know, you got Rome, you got DJ, you got Cole, you got all these guys already. You just got to figure it out through the draft. Like I heard earlier, Ashton Genty could potentially go to the Bears at number 10. That's cute and that's cool. Yeah. But like it reminds me of Gibbs. You know, they didn't need Gibbs at 12, but they did it because they already had the line. They already had the quarterback. They already had the receivers. We're not in that position where you can be cute and take Ashton Genty, who, by the way, was at a shit schools and the only team he ever played was Oregon. So like, is he even that great? But I don't know. I think you really have to address that offensive line to be able to get away with the stuff that he was doing in Detroit.
And then I was hearing that he's going to bring in Dennis Allen as his defensive coordinator. How do you feel about that?
Yes, sir. I fucking love that. He reminds me a lot of Flores, where it's like, and Jay, I heard what you said about Flores. Fuck that guy. You know, as a head coach, fuck that guy. Like, no. But as a defensive coordinator, I think just like Flores, he does an amazing job. And I think some guys are just strictly just coordinators. And I think Allen, who's been honestly creating an elite defense out of nothing because of the way they've been constricted from a salary cap perspective year in and year out. He's done really well. So I would love that. It also means we don't have to switch up the scheme. And I kind of said earlier today, it's, you know, I think we're closer to being the monsters of the Midway again than we are farther away. So if they were to blow up that defense, I'd be pretty sad about it. You got Jalen Johnson, Montez Sweat, Kyler Gordon, maybe Tyreek Stevenson's still on the team, maybe not. Who gives a fuck? But you got a lot of guys on that team. Tremaine Edmonds, that could be really good. So I think bringing in Allen's great. It definitely does limit you with guys like Khalil Mack being available because it's like, you know, they don't fit that system. So you'll have to figure out what you're going to do outside of the offensive line. You got to figure out that defensive line too with Sweat because he's all by himself. But I like it. I like it a lot. I think the only question is like OC, who's going to be on the offensive side of things with Ben.
Would you welcome Khalil Mack with open arms?
No, fuck no. I'm good. I'm like no. And I love Mac, and what Mac did for the Bears was incredible, and we made us relevant for the first time since Lovie Smith, and I'll never forget that. Like 2018 was special, bro. Even though it ended the way it did, it was special. But you know, he had 17 sacks in 23 with 73 combinations, and then it was 39 combinations in 2024 with 6 sacks. So not only is he getting older, but he also just doesn't like the reason we got rid of him was because we were switching the scheme. So he's not going to mesh well with a guy like Montez Sweat with the way they play the linebacker position.
Let me ask, I got 2 questions. One is, you know, when he was, the one thing I like about Big Johnson, he put packages around certain people, especially like a guy like Laporta, right? And he put a special package around Laporta. And from the fantasy side of life, man, he just made Laporta look like a superstar. Now you got Cole Kmet. Do you see him doing the same thing with Cole Kmet and putting packages around him to make him more relevant in your offense? That's question one. My other question for you is, and it kind of goes with what Robert is saying, now you got Keenan Allen on that team, for 1 year into it. You know how injury prone he is. Do you still see Keenan Allen being another big part of this offense?
I think number 2 is the important part. I don't even know if I see Keenan Allen coming back. He's a free agent now. You know, he didn't ask to be here. He got traded here. And I saw that motherfucker wearing a scarf and mittens in September in Chicago. So I think he might head back to LA, go somewhere a little warmer. And that's like, I'm so serious too. Like that man looked freezing every time I saw him. You know, you saw what Jim Harbaugh was able to do this year. Ladd McConkey, J.K. Dobbins, Herbert. I could see him going back to LA, kind of just running it back on a cheaper deal. Now he is a man about his money. And that's the reason he came here. So I don't know. I don't know if he returns. For Cole Kmet, you got to stop doing the fucking podcast, bro. Like, leave that to the five of us. You know what I mean? Like, I see this man on a podcast or doing advertisements every other week. Get in the fucking gym, bro. Like, that's all I could say. And I think a big part of it is we don't have an offensive line, so obviously he can't do a lot. But Cole Kmet is, you know, everyone talks about he's a fringe top 10 tight end, but we've been saying that for 3 years. So
honestly, to me, I like Cole Kmet. Honestly, to me, I feel like he's a beast.
I like him too.
I feel like he didn't show out this year because of the coaching. I feel like, you know,
yeah.
I saw the coaching and stuff like that. You guys, you know, what was his name again? I don't even want to say his name, honestly. The coach that you had.
Oh, Shane Waldron. Yeah, Matt Eberflus, both of them.
Yeah, Matt Eberflus. Like, his coaching style for you guys was just terrible. And I mean, we know what Cole Kmet could do. So I feel like having Ben Johnson, and I'm going to agree with Jay on that. I feel like having Ben Johnson on this team, you're going to see Cole Kmet produce so much more. But it also goes to what Mike said. You guys need to get an offense. I feel like every single one of our team needs a goddamn offensive line.
Our offensive line is decent.
Yeah, I was about to say Gonzo's shit is rocking. It's just his quarterback thinks he's a running back, and then he gets tired. Yeah. He just needs more protein bars.
We do need to transition real quick. Let's talk real quick about Aaron Glenn. Now, Aaron Glenn says that this is his dream job with the coach, the New York Jets, the same organization that made him a first-round pick back in 1994. And this is another defensive coordinator type of guy. How do we feel about it? We're going to start at the top, and we're going to work our way down. So, Gonzo, Tony, what do y'all think about Aaron Glenn taking over this Jets job? And will he be the one that actually can put it back on the map?
I think a lot depends on who the quarterback is, and a lot depends on who the offensive coordinator is going to be. I think they'll have a good defense. I think he will get that defense where it needs to be. Because really, the defense wasn't bad under Salam. When he left, the defense went to hell.
Right.
So, but we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if they have the quarterback. That's the first thing.
I like to hire because I thought Aaron Glenn was one of the top candidates out there. I think he's a good leader, and but the problem is it's the Jets and Woody Johnson and Woody Johnson's 17-year-old son aren't going to let Glenn do what he wants to do. That they get involved too much. So I don't see it working personally, but not because Glenn's not a good coach, or I just think he's walking into a situation where hell, we haven't seen anybody really succeed there since Rex Ryan had some pretty good years there, but since then we ain't really seen the Jets be able to do anything, no matter who they bring in. I like the hire because I think Glenn's a hell of a coach. I think he could build a culture. I just don't know. It's just such an uphill battle with the New York Jets.
Oh yeah. Tony, I got another question to you specifically, man. They hired the head coach before they hired the general manager. I feel like it's like putting the cart before the horse. Obviously, you got to think that Aaron Glenn, I guess, is going to have in some kind of way some influence on who they bring in as a GM. Make sure they mesh.
Can I make a comment on that, Jay, real quick?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
To kind of answer your question, they've interviewed a guy from Detroit once, and he was coming in today for his second interview. And
really?
They said that was another thing that was really drawing Glenn too, because he liked working. I can't think of the guy's name, but he was on one of the executives for Detroit, and him and Glenn get along real well. So that was another thing Glenn liked about the Jets, because they were going.
You're talking about Lance Newmark. That was the former longtime Lions executive was Lance Newmark. It looks like the Jets are still looking to hire a new general manager. They conducted an in-person interview with longtime Lions executive Lance Newmark. So I think that's who you're probably speaking on.
Yes, and they were saying Glenn was real high on getting to work, hoping to get to work with him. So I think I'm assuming since they hired Glenn, that's probably who they're going with as their GM.
Okay, Tony. Oh
yeah, I kind of agree with him. I don't know much about their about who they might get as general manager. That sounds pretty good to me. I just don't know about the quarterback. Is Rodgers going to be back? If he's not, who's going to be the quarterback? And if can Rodgers still play? That's a big question. I don't know. After this year, I'm not sure. His numbers wasn't.
He played pretty good second half of the season.
His numbers wasn't as terrible as the team seemed, but the team was not very good. They fell apart.
Yeah, Mike. I got to ask you, man, usually an organization that's this disarrayed right now probably needs at least, 3 or 4 years before you really start to see the fruits of the labor. Aaron Glenn, what's your thoughts on that process?
I think it sucks. I think it's a tricky situation for Glenn to go into. You know, obviously he's going to take it because it's his first head coaching job and it's a team that drafted him. But from what I've seen this offseason, everybody wants to find the next Dan Campbell, the former player that becomes the head coach. But there was a lot more that went into it. Like Dan Campbell had a Ben Johnson and a Aaron Glenn, and I think that was a huge part to his success. He inherited a Jared Goff, and he inherited this offensive line that they built together. Yeah, I would say he inherited that offensive line. They really built that together from scratch. But, you know, bringing in guys that they drafted extremely well. They have a great executive over there that's really just done a phenomenal job drafting in Detroit. Now you see Mike Vrabel going back to New England, and what's next? Blake Bortles is going to be the head coach of Jacksonville. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, everyone's trying to find that next – yeah, you know what I'm saying, though? Everyone's bringing that back, former players. We interviewed Ron Rivera, and I'm like, everyone's trying to find that next Dan Campbell, and I think sometimes it's a good thing, sometimes it's a bad thing. You know, but in this instance, I think Glenn is going to be there to create a culture. I think he's like kind of how I felt about when the Bears brought in Matt Eberflus. It's really to just create some type of culture. And then when you do start getting to that point of winning again, that's when you bring in, okay, here's my Ben Johnson. Here's whoever you want to bring in that situation. So I see him just being there to be a player's coach, to make sure guys like Sauce, guys like Garrett don't request trades. You know, try to do the best that you can. Like, again, like it's going to come down to who his OC is. And I think that's really important, especially for a guy like Aaron. But
absolutely.
If you're banking on Aaron Rodgers to return, I think you're shit out of the water already. So, yeah.
Yeah. So Frankie, Glenn is the second player in Lions history, or not Lions, excuse me, in Jets history to go from being a player to a coach. The first one was Walt Michaels. He did it back in the 70s, I believe it was. Glenn is touted to be a Bill Parcells disciple. What do you think about Glenn? Is it kind of, and I kind of am leaning towards Mike, where it's going to be depending on who the coordinators he brings in and gets the culture shifted up there. What do you think about Aaron Glenn hire?
I play the Jets 2 times a year, every goddamn year. I'm going to say the same thing that I said when Aaron Rodgers went there. It don't give a damn who's going to be the head coach. It don't care who's going to be offensive coordinator. It don't matter who's the defensive coordinator. Hell, Tony, it don't matter who's the quarterback. Right? It don't matter. This is the Jets organization. This is a team where a couple years ago, I was scared of the defense, right? Then I see that they bring in Aaron Rodgers, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to laugh at this because it's ridiculous. The Jets are the Jets. They're going to do the Jets thing, and that's just continued to be a downfall franchise. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that, you know, Glenn is gonna be a terrible head coach. He could be a great head coach. He could win 5-6 games. It's cool. They could be third in the division and the Patriots be last. It's cool. But guess what? They're never going to make the playoffs again. They're not. It doesn't matter who the hell the quarterback is. It don't matter who the head coach is. It don't matter who's running offense, defense. It don't matter. Because at the end of the day, the Jets are going to do what the Jets do, and that is tank. That is set up for failure, not success, for failure. And I feel sorry for the players like Garrett Wilson. I feel sorry for the players like Sauce Gardner because they deserve better than that. It's not their fault that in the draft pick that they got picked, it fell on the Jets' lap. I feel real sorry for them, but at the end of the day, I don't give a goddamn who's going to be a coach because guess what, Mr. Glenn? You declined an interview for the Patriots head coaching job. You really did. And I understand why. I understand you got drafted by the Jets. You had to play against the Patriots. We're your rivals. It's cool. That's cool. You got your dream job. Literally, you got your dream job. That's cool. It's going to continue to be your dream job because you're not going to do nothing with them. So go ahead and keep dreaming on being successful with the Jets. And this is straight hate coming out of my heart for this. Like, honestly, it's straight hate.
You think that's just a little bit of hate? Just a little bit?
Straight hate. I don't care who they can. You could go out and you could get one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and you're still not going to be successful. Hell, you had Aaron Rodgers and you had his guy and Hackett, right? I mean, that's what they wanted. They wanted to get Aaron Rodgers with his offensive coordinator guy. Then you go and you get your guy in Devontae Adams. What the hell happened? Nothing.
Yeah. I'll tell you this. Look, we're going to wrap it up. We're going to wrap this part of it up with this. The last time they made a playoff appearance, and I'm talking about the New York Jets, was 2010. So they're in a 14-year playoff absence. The last time they had a top 10 scoring offense was 2008. The last time they had a division title was 2002. And the worst one of all, last time they had a 4,000-yard passer was 1967. I mean, this team has not had much in the way of anything in the last 14, 15, 16 years. And you got to imagine it's at least another 3 more years, probably 2, maybe, depending on how fast they can rebuild this team before they even get to a playoffs again. So let's say even 3 years from now, that's 17, almost sometime between 17 to 20 years expectancy before they even make the playoffs. I mean, that's crazy to me. I mean, I thought the Cowboys' 30-year Super Bowl drought was something, but the Jets got a little bit more rough side over there. They didn't even see the playoffs.
It's mind-blowing. You think that literally the last time they had really good success and making it to the AFC Championship game, the quarterback was Mark Sanchez. Like, literally, let that.
Hey, former Bear, Mark Sanchez. Shout out to him.
Like, Mark. Dude, like, listen, it's really sad that the last success you had was Mark Sanchez. Then you literally just had Aaron Rodgers. You just had Aaron Rodgers, a guy who literally won back-to-back MVPs and stuff like that. A guy who went to the Super Bowl, won a Super Bowl. And then you do nothing with the man. Listen, I understand what Tony and Chris are saying. Like, you know, he played his ass off this year. He had good numbers and stuff like that. Listen, at the end of the day, what happened? What happened?
Try.
You know what's interesting to me is the fact that if you don't bring Rodgers back, all you have on your roster after that is Tyrod Taylor and 2024 5th-round pick Jordan Travis. I mean, that's all you got. So you got to think, Mike, does Aaron Glenn look to try to draft a quarterback this go around and maybe trade up for it? Or does he try to trade for picks and try to get a quarterback in next rounds or next drafts?
You know, it's kind of why I never understood the trade of Zach Wilson. And I never understood it because I thought if you did by any chance still believe in this kid who you drafted so highly, why not have him learn from Aaron Rodgers? Why not have him be in that building? You know, I understand we don't want the kid to become a drug addict, but you know, maybe learn how to sling the ball a little bit better. But you know, I think, you know, for me, it really just comes down to what Glenn wants. You know, and even now in this moment, you know, they're going to bring in a new GM, they're going to bring in Aaron Glenn, and the situation is, even if Zach Wilson was here, did they even want him to begin with? You know what I mean? So I think that's really the thing that's where I'm kind of conflicted, where it's kind of like you're in a shitty situation. Sure. And like maybe they wanted him, maybe they didn't, but you know, now you're kind of like the Las Vegas Raiders, where it's like, you know, Aiden O'Connell sucks, you know, Gardner Minshew sucks, you don't have the draft capital in order to get a Cam Ward or a Shedeur Sanders. You're also not good enough to trade up and get those guys. You know what I mean? Like it's just like Carolina for whatever reason gave us the number 1 pick a couple of years ago, and it was like I didn't feel like they were in a position to do that whatsoever. You know, like they and on top of that, giving you DJ Moore. So like if they were to trade away Garrett Wilson and a bunch of firsts, they'd really be setting themselves up for failure, and they'd be setting that quarterback up for failure.
Yeah, I think they'll either bring Rodgers back, or they'll try to find somebody in free agency, maybe like a Darnold, or maybe bring Darnold back to the Jets or somebody like that. I think that's what they'll do for this year, because I think that's what they'll do this year, because you're right that they're not going to be able to trade up in the draft to draft anybody. So I think this year they're going to try to get a free agent as a gap fill.
Sam Darnold will sit at that Jets table with Woody Johnson and pull the Jay McLovin.
I would piss on that contract if I were them, bro. If I'm Sam Darnold, I would piss on that.
No, I'm not saying Darnold will take. I'm just saying I think they'll go.
Oh no, for sure. I get you.
What about Cousins?
Oh, man.
They're not going to have the money to pay what Cousins.
We got one more thing to talk about before we get out of here, and I'm going to talk about this on Phoenix Suns. Mike, I don't know. I'm sure you probably have seen this. I know you're real big into basketball stuff. I'm going to ask you this. So the Phoenix Suns are looking to trade their 2031 first rounder to the Utah Jazz for 3 first-round picks was announced.
Yeah.
And apparently, I think what they're looking at is they're looking at taking those picks and trade it for Miami's Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
If that goes down, what would Jimmy Butler do for the Suns? And the Suns record right now is 21-21. Mike, if they get Jimmy Butler off of those picks, what are you thinking about the Phoenix Suns?
Shit, nothing. You know, yeah. I love Jimmy. Jimmy's one of my favorite players of my generation. You know, at least in high school, grew up on Jimmy Butler in Chicago. The G stands for gets, man. He gets buckets. That's Jimmy Buckets. So, like, I love what Jimmy does. And, you know, it's unfortunate that a player that I love so much has this narrative of everywhere he goes, he forces his way out. But that's what it is, you know. And I think at this point in his career, you know, KD says he'll sign an extension. I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw his lengthy ass. So, like, you know what I mean? Like, he might sign that extension and then request a trade. That doesn't mean fucking shit. Half these guys do that 90% of the time. You know, Zach LaVine signed a $200 million extension and a year later said he wanted to fucking leave. Am I being robbed right now? Who is this guy, bro? Like, what the fuck just happened? Yo, Frankie's got a ski mask on. What the fuck's going on, brother? What the fuck? The fuck? My fault, dog. I didn't know you was like that. But nah, Jimmy, KD, and Book would be great. But their big problem has always been that bench. And again, like, it's going to come down to Bradley Beal waiving a trade clause that I doubt he waives. I don't know why he wouldn't. Like, we've just heard that he doesn't want to waive it. I'd go to Miami. Fuck is in Washington, bro. Like, you know what I mean? But like,
yeah,
whatever. And I think Bradley Beal, honestly, being arguably the number one option in Miami might do good for his career. But rather than coming off the bench and fucking Phoenix.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. So, real quick, Tony Gonzo, let me ask you guys this. The Jazz consolidated their first-round picks acquired in the Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell trades from 22, including the 2031 unprotected first-round pick from Phoenix. Utah will have 11 first-round picks in the next 7 years. What do you think is going to become of Utah? Do you think this is the next big wave in this rebuild of Utah Jazz? I mean, what do you think expecting out of them?
I got you, Gonzo. They'll have 12 because even in that 11th year, they'll still be fucking shit, and they'll probably get the number one pick that year too. The fuck out of here.
No, honestly, that's basically what I was going to say, because it don't matter how many draft picks you have if you don't use them right. I mean, we've seen organizations. I mean, look what the Celtics done years ago in the draft with I can't think of their GM. Was it Mikal?
I don't remember.
That's the wrong one.
It don't matter. Fuck the Celtics.
I can't remember who their GM was, but he made some trades and was able to do good in the draft and help build that team. But in Utah just hasn't.
It wasn't Mikal. It was the other guy.
I can't think of the guy's name.
It was a guard.
Yeah, he was a player. I know that. But anyway, I just don't. The Jazz haven't proven that they're going to do that. They're going to do that. And I know they got new owners and stuff here recently, but until they prove that they know what's going on in the operation side, it's hard for me to believe that they're going to turn it around.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so close it out. I want to talk real quick. I want to say congrats to Pop. It looks like his rehab is going really well. Spurs CEO R.C. Buford has said the Hall of Fame coach continues to get better and has been aggressive in his recovery from November stroke, quote unquote. All I can share is he's attacking his rehab in a way that, Pop, you've observed him for years, Buford said. So, looks great, man. Let me ask you this, guys. We'll close out on this. How many more years do you think Pop coaches in the NBA before he just finally hangs it up and says, I'm done? And we'll go top to bottom, left to right. So, Gonzo, Tony, lay this off on that. How many more years do you think Pop's got left in him before he calls it a career?
I'd say no more than 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say 1 or 2.
Okay.
It's just hard to know because it just depends on, a lot of it's going to depend on his health.
Oh, for sure. Mike, I got a different question for you. Let's say he does go 2 more years.
What the hell?
What happened? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I skip somebody? Tony. Oh, I did. Tony, I didn't go to you. I'm sorry.
No, I said 2. I think Frankie was wondering why he didn't get the answer.
That's because I don't like Frankie right now. No, I'm kidding. Frankie, I'm coming. I'll tell you what. We'll go in reverse. I don't want you to feel like you were left out.
No. I don't care. I could be last. I don't care. You say the best for last. But like, I'm just confused on why you ask a question and then go to Mike. Like, I got a different question for you.
So roll, Frankie. You can be the host if you want. I'll gladly hand the reins over to you.
I mean, like, pick how many years he think Pop's got, and then to ask him another question. Damn. Maybe he had the answer at the tip of his tongue. He was ready to go off or something, and you just like, yo, Mike, hold that thought, Mike.
Hey, Mike, how many years you think Pop has left?
Hey man, when we were talking about his rehab and stuff, I thought the only Pops I know is the one standing right next to you. Like I thought we was talking about Pops.
How many years I got left?
I was like, damn. I didn't know. He was like, congrats on your rehab. I was like, fuck happened to Pops? I didn't even know.
Hey,
Nothing.
I'm not gonna lie. It took me a bit when he
I knew
said
he was talking about.
when he said I want to say congrats to
Papa
Pop,
Mitch.
and he said about rehab. And I'm thinking, what's he talking about? Because I thought he was talking about you at first.
Yeah,
I knew
that's
what he was
right.
talking about.
I was like,
If
what
it
the
don't warm
fuck?
up,
Oh
I ain't
man,
got
what's
nothing
about
on
Popovich? Everybody calls him Pops. Let's go.
Thought we took a slip at the store or something, bro. It was fucking crazy. I don't know. I'd give it 1 or 2. I think he wants a full season
Yeah.
with Wemby. I think the athlete in you would want that, to be able to work with a guy like this and to be able to say you helped groom him into who he is today. You know, and
Absolutely.
CP 0 rings is still over there too, so I'm sure he probably wants to rock out with that as well. But you like that, Frank? Yeah, but you know, I don't know. I think it's gonna be interesting. I hope Pop's got his State Farm secured from CP. And we'll see what happens health wise, man. You know, he lost his wife a few years ago on a serious note. Now he's got his own health
Yeah.
issues. So, you know, like the love of the game is there, but I think we've all had our own issues with stuff going on in real life. And you know, you can instantly just be like completely on the other spectrum of like, hey man, I really don't give a fuck about this shit no more. You know, and I've had my own moments like that. And it's like, it really just depends on him, man. And I couldn't imagine, you know, being, you know, what's that even like for him on his knees and going on as many of those flights as he does every single day and traveling. It's got to be a lot. So you'll just have to wait and see. Really, I know that's like a bleak answer, but like I could see Pops not coming back, to be honest, and just being a front office guy. Like I could see it for sure.
All right. On
Pacers
that
are
note,
going
folks, we're
to
gonna
whip
everybody
up on
say their
Wembyama
goodbyes.
in France tomorrow night. Or
So
tomorrow afternoon,
Gonzo,
I should
man,
say.
parting thoughts.
Parting thoughts: Pacers are going to whip up on Wembyama tomorrow in Paris, France.
We wilding on them.
Hey, Pacers
y'all,
been playing some
if y'all-
good ball here lately, man.
Man, listen, when Tyrese Halliburton figures out what voice he wants to use, I think you'll start to have a better understanding of what player you got in him too. Because that motherfucker sounds like a girl 1 second, sounds like a grown ass man the next. So I don't know. He gave the Bulls that work though. I ain't gonna hold you, but I don't know.
Is Levine ever going to leave Chicago? Or
I fucking hope so. One can only hope. One can only hope he gets the fuck out of here, bro. But he's balling though. I'll
The
give him
only
that.
thing
He's balling.
What other thing I have is if you missed our wrestling show last night, go check it out at Gonzo Sports Room.
Yeah, if you guys haven't checked out Gonzo's Sports Room or Gonzo's Wrestling Room, make sure you check them out. You can find them on Gonzo Sports Room on YouTube, or you can find them here on ESCN on our YouTube channel, Facebooks, and whatnot. And I'm going to say Mike for last. Frankie, man, any parting shots?
Yeah, I can't wait for Royal Rumble because me and Tony are going one-on-one. I'm gonna be going one-on-one with the wrinkle one over there. I can't wait. I'm gonna knock him out over the top.
I'm gonna be at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, I know. That's why I said me and you, we're gonna run in that ring. We're gonna go 29-30.
Hey, don't play with Pops. Don't slap them titties around, boy.
You run in that ring, we'll get the hell beat out. What's gonna happen?
I know, Frankie, I know you were watching some of the show last night. We were trying to get him set up in some matches, and he wouldn't take any of them.
No, I ain't doing the match.
I know. That's why I threw it out there. I'm like, I might as well go one-on-one with the wrinkle one. You might as well go ahead.
They're saying WrestleMania probably here in 2027.
We tried to give him a barbed wire match or something like
No
that.
damn ball. You're crazy.
Come on, get the extreme out.
What about that match? What about that?
Hey, Frankie, were you on there when he was talking about the match where they're going to have light tubes hanging from the
No,
ceiling?
no, the match I want to see is Jay and Frankie in a Lucky 7 match. And what that is, the first one to staple $7 bills, $1 bills to the other guy's head wins the match.
Dude, I would totally bite his ankles and his kneecaps, drop his fat ass, and then take them $7.
No, you got to staple him to his head.
Oh, I can staple them. He already got a bald head. I ain't got to cut no hair off. So
That's actually one of the matches they're going to have on that show.
Hold on. Jay, remove your fucking hat. Jay, remove your hat. Look at the side of your head. Look at that shit.
Hair, motherfucker.
I'm gonna staple dollar bills all around that motherfucker.
Hey.
All right. You won't even be able to.
Jay looks like
All right. You're gonna freaking break your knees on the ramp. All right. Don't try it.
Jay looks like George Kittle on crack. That's crazy.
Hey, it's quality crack. I ain't no. I use designer
I mean,
crack.
I did not
I don't
question the
use that
quality of
porn
your
stuff.
crack.
I use some. designer
I
crack.
did not. You got that Trevor Phillips crack. I know, boy. You ain't lying to me.
Mike, man,
it's
hey,
Big
where
Glenn,
can we
it's
find
Big
you
Glenn.
at, brother? Where are all your social handles?
Man, y'all know where to find me. It don't fucking matter. We rocking out everywhere. You can find me on ESPN whenever I feel like it. We
Dang right
rocking
you
out.
can.
We
Damn
rocking
right.
out
Say with your
ESPN.
chest, Mike. Say
You
with your
back on,
chest.
are you back on TikTok?
Oh yeah, we're back. Donnie hooked it up. That boy Don.
Nice.
You know, it's still. Hey, I'll tell you, I ain't a political man. I still ain't ever gonna thank him for shit. But you know, we kind of like we just nodded at each other, and I was like, and he was like, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go back to not being political. And he was like, and I was like, and that's it. That's as much as you'll get from the shy kid on politics. I don't get into none of that shit. All I care about
agree,
is the
man.
Dodgers.
I agree.
Yeah, but and also
Seriously.
shout out Tyrese
This is
Halliburton.
a man who just wore a fucking Trump and JD Vance shirt yesterday. And
Nah,
he
me.
agree with Mike.
Nah, me. Nah,
Nah,
me.
He's
about
a
Jay.
felon. I rock the felon. It's all good. Whatever.
Hey, I
Hey,
don't
no,
judge.
but,
You know,
hey.
whoever you vote for that's all that matters, brother. You know, I'm more worried about the
You know what
Dodgers.
I'm saying? It's like whatever. Hey, but y'all need to check out Mike when he does the Chi-Town with the Chicago Sky. He does a really good job there, and I'm sure you can find a Mike all kinds of places. I'm glad he's on here, hanging out with us on the ESPN. Hopefully he'll come up more often, and hopefully he'll get more of Mike in the groove. Mike, thank you for hanging out with us, brother. I appreciate you, love you. Frankie, Tony, Gonzo, your boy Jay saying thank you for watching. And don't forget, if you like this content, hit us up on the like, share, but most importantly, give us a subscribe. I'm not trying to beg, but I am going to beg. Give us a damn subscribe. We love you guys. We'll see you next time.
Fuck the Astros.